An interesting way to look at a coach is to ask where they sit on the coaching continuum. On the left hand, the coach knows what they want, instructs, and the athlete does as told.
On the right hand is a coach who is building self-awareness in the athlete, for example by asking questions. So what style of coach are you, and do you vary your style?
When you're doing slow stuff there, you should be getting 15 metres off the wall. When you're doing hard stuff there, you should be getting 12. Your intensity is going up. Not 12 on the first push-off, 12 on the first, 10 plus on every single one in intensity. In low intensity, further.
Okay. So you'll notice the ball's gone further just by increasing your energy, increasing your back and through. So after that little grouping, how did it feel, those shots?
It helped, mentally especially, to make me more comfortable doing that.
You felt more comfortable, more relaxed as you did that? And I think a lot of golf, especially chipping or anything that you're learning, if you're relaxed and your muscles are free of tension, it almost, the club does the work for you.
The first thing you looked at doing was getting rid of it. Yeah. But you could have played the ball around and got the movement. So you need to think a little bit more of how you're going to change the dynamics of the other group, because they're trying to do what you're doing, but they're doing it better. Yeah.
How about we just clear all the balls and pass between the 12 balls?
So when are you in control of performance? When you got the ball. When you got the ball, you were in control of performance. That's your key goal. Don't worry about scoring until you have possession.
Where do you put yourself on our scale? What factors do you think affected the coach's choice of approach?
To help answer some of these questions, we've gathered together a panel of experts to comment on different and diverse coaching approaches.
Great shot, that's a cover drive. Well done, that's good. The athletes can't be standing around waiting for the coach. You know, even from a parent teaching a bunch of young fellas to an elite coach, the athletes have to be consistently moving around between task or game or whatever. As soon as they're standing around doing nothing, you're losing time and it's a wasted session. You got a second chance. Nice shot. You guys done really well there, right? Now the most important thing about learning is you can actually do it. So show me what you've learned. Show me your forward defensive shot. Brilliant. Excellent. The coach is probably the least important person in a cricket team. They're really a service provider to the athletes. So the most important thing is understanding the group of people you're working with and the way that they like to work and the way that they communicate and the way that they understand best. And setting objectives that the team buys into. They're consistent things that you would do with a junior 5-year-old team, which is where these guys started, right through to elite, you know, the aces or the black caps even.
The thing I loved about these guys was the amount of activity and the way the coaches were able to observe. You know, young coaches often, I know when I was a young coach, I wanted to try and fix everything. You know, I was like a doctor moving around and saying, do it this way, do it that way, do it that way. These guys had the confidence to observe, let them play, and then come in and debrief afterwards. And I thought that was outstanding.
So let's just create now that contact that you've got here. This has now become our tackle line. So the contact has happened now. All right, so that line there now is our imaginary tackle line. So what are we trying to do there?
Beat the defender.
Beat the defender, okay. So what's one of the keys to beating the defender?
Taking the weak shoulder.
Great. There's an activity we can do here to focus on to help the ball carrier with his footwork. And what we want to do is we're going to work the guy in the middle. I think one of the things that you start off as a coach is you feel like you have to have all the knowledge. And I think as we go through our coaching, we learn that the players are really in the best place to have that knowledge, and our ability to extract the information out of our playing group or our competing group is as vital, if not more vital, than us imparting that knowledge. So I think have the confidence to present yourself, be vulnerable in that you can't have all the answers, and be prepared to accept information coming back from your group, because the information coming back from the group is how they see it, and that's not a bad place to start. Yeah, good. So on your steps here, remembering what are our steps we're looking for?
Short and sharp.
Yeah, what leg are we looking for to be short and sharp?
Right foot.
Okay, well, let's have a look at that. Let's see how we go. Good. And how did you feel there?
Oh, more dynamic, had a lot more power.
Yep. Good. And what about you as a defender? What did you notice?
I felt like he committed me more.
Yep.
Got strong in tackle.
Yeah, well done. Good. Yeah, that was good, guys. I think what we're working on there is that explosiveness around the contact area. I think you notice if you get in there, you use your fast feet, it gives us a greater opportunity to win that collision area, because that's what we're really trying to do. We've worked on winning the race to the advantage line, and now we want to win that tackle line area, which is going to work around our evasiveness and our footwork. That was excellent. Well done.
It was quite sequential. It started with the basic skill, then moved on to a more difficult. And he took the players through every step in the development of that skill, through a question and answering approach, and an overview, a commentary at the end. So it was explained, and even for someone who didn't know rugby, they would be able to see the development of that footwork.
The things that I picked up that were good was summarising of the key points at the end. So there was the questions, there was a response from the players, but then he summarised and sort of packaged it at the end, so they went away very clear of what was expected.
Just to pick up, the last question was the question of the attacking player and then the questioning of the defensive player, and he got a two-way interaction there too, so that everybody felt engaged.
Offensively, we've got to keep executing. We spoke about it yesterday. Still getting to spots, all right? Getting to where you're supposed to be is an important part of us getting better. Letting the players communicate with you, I think that's a real important part of it. I think finally is as well, just trying to get a feel for how different players learn. Everyone learns differently. We're all different human beings, and some people need to be told, some people need to see it on video, some people need to write it down, and you got to be prepared to use all those methods.
In the States, it's more of a kind of a dictatorship, you know, where you do what the coach says, no questions asked. Where now, there's questions asked. You're just trying to get better, and so you value their opinion. You know, he's going to let us talk because he knows we respect him regardless. You know, we're not going to ever not respect it.
CJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty quiet for coming into another big game. I just think that we need to tomorrow come in with the energy.
Yep. Bear, your thoughts?
Blue did a better job towards the end there of taking the three away, but overall I think the intensity was pretty good.
If you have an opinion on how something should work, you should express that opinion. It's for the good of the group, and if you don't say it, you're actually hurting the group by not saying it and holding on to it. And again, with that avenue of communication, we've been able to create an environment where no one gets penalised for it and everyone feels like that they should speak up. No one ever looks at them like they're an idiot. It's a little bit of a reflection of what the coach is prepared to accept, and if the coach is prepared to accept it and encourage it from his players, I think the players will do it. If the coach doesn't accept it, or the first time a player does it, he shoots him down and tells him he's, to shut up, I'm coaching the team, you're not going to get it, and it's the environment that you choose to create.
Breakers, 1, 2, 3, breakers!
And Andre talked about being able to express your opinions on the team, and in the All Blacks we use an expression, enter the danger, which is debating issues, confronting brutal facts, but also having the ability to disagree and commit after you've debated, for the good of the team, and then all go forward together.
Yeah, we find in netball that it is evolution, and it's about trust, that they feel safe to express their viewpoint and are encouraged to, in a way that is, as you mentioned, Wayne, that is best for the greater good, really.
I think that's why in coaching it's so important to create a culture, so that players can come and go, but the culture remains the same. And if players come into that environment and they see people expressing their views, they'll understand that they're allowed to do that as well. And you've got to create that environment for them to come into.
In swimming, in particular, in my area, we need coaches who love children and love swimming and enjoy life, and so they can instill those qualities in with swimmers. Emanating out of that would be competitive swimming, where structure and knowledge become very important, and creating systems whereby each swimmer can then progress year to year and achieve. That's part of what coaching is. When I started out coaching some 40 odd years ago, I must tell you, I made a lot of mistakes. All I had was enthusiasm, and I had been an Olympic swimmer. So I called on where I left off at Olympic level, and I was teaching and coaching youngsters I'm not that level. I was a directive coach when I started out. You wrap that up in love for the children and making things interesting, but really is your call on what people are do, and that's a directive model. My coaching has evolved into senior level swimming, and as the Olympic coach, I'm dealing with not too many youngsters. They're mostly adults, and that's much more the coach still leading, but in a collaborative manner. And there's a lot more input from the swimmer as far as their feelings and their knowledge as they grow.
Great thing for me about Jan is that whole love of the game and love of the people, you know, and sport's often about generating responsibility in your athletes, responsibility for learning, responsibility for performance, and I think that's what she does.
There's no doubting, you know, love for any sport is so crucial if you want to coach. Love for your sport, love for your kids that you're involved with, and that's really, really fundamental. You've got to have an absolute passion. You've got to live the sport daily, day in, day out, and Jan does that 24/7.